Hey guys, welcome to the LinFit Coaching Podcast today, and I'm finishing up my interview with Dr. Mitch Keating today in our podcast where we talk about learning, the value of learning, and why it's so important to us. And it's something that both he and I share and that we're both really passionate about because if you don't stop learning, that's whenever you get behind. That's whenever you stop sharpening yourself and stop getting better as you go. So with this growth mindset and this desire to learn as we go, it really helps us to keep improving and bettering ourselves and bettering those around us. It's this humble value that is really good for our careers and us individually. But I also wanted to encourage you today to check out our programs at linfit.com. That's LINN fit.com. You can check it out in the show notes or the comments, and you can see all the different programs we have to offer. That this podcast we have is free. You can watch it and listen to it whenever you want. But we also provide paid program stuff if you really want to get some coaching, actually make some progress in a deeper health, a better health, not just nutrition and exercise, but also your entire lifestyle. And that's what we get super excited about. What I'm super excited about as a coach and serving each individual client, that you are a person to me and that you are someone that deserves to have the accountability and the professional expertise behind you to actually help you achieve a better and deeper health. So I encourage you to check that out today, but enjoy the episode today. And so I think something that you and I really value a lot is just learning. And I would consider both of us sort of like aggressive learners. We're always talking about like, oh, I'm reading this, or I'm going to this seminar, or I'm doing this kind of continuing education, or like, dude, you should get this certification. It would really round out who you are as a professional or something like that. But I just think this value of learning is like super important for us, especially like in the realm of health. And I'm not talking about Google Health. I'm talking about like really learning from books, from other professionals, people who are better at something than you are, and kind of like getting this team of people around you who are always learning, always trying to level up. And so, like, how have you seen like valuing learning highly benefit your health and your chiropractic practice?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real for a second before I dive into that. At K-State, I was a good student, but you knew me then. I wasn't a great student. I mean, I my grades were good, but in terms of comprehension of the topic, maybe not where they should have been, right? When I got into chiropractic school, when that becomes a job, when you're in school 30 some hours a week and you're studying on top of that and you're trying to have a life outside of school, all of a sudden you get very good at being disciplined. And my dentist, of all people, who's known me since I was 5, before I went to chiropractic school, he said something that was incredibly impactful to me. And he said, I want you to remember something when you go, that as soon as you decide that you know enough, or as soon as you decide to stop learning, is the day that you're done helping people.
Ooh,
And
ouch.
that was just, and this guy's been in practice 30 some years, right? And he
Wow.
goes, I still read research, I still take seminars that um, push me and challenge me and make me question things that I thought were, best practices to treat a root canal, or whatever it was. And that dramatically changed my outlook on education from that point forward. And it's led me down, an ankle injury and some ART treatment has led me down a rabbit hole to really specialize in what I do, and I love it. Like, last weekend I finished up my last class to become a sports diplomate. Now, not done yet. Got a couple tests. Got to get a research article published, but the coursework was at the end of a long week on Zoom, right? It's like, this is the last thing I want to do. And within 15 minutes of doing it, my wife texts me while I'm on the Zoom call at the office, and she goes, how you doing? I'm like, loving it. I'm ready to go back to work tomorrow. And it's just super exciting that when you can find things that you're passionate about, because you can take those back to the office or into the gym the next day or the next week and help somebody, it becomes exciting, and you realize that you're not a finished product and that you don't know anything about certain topics like you thought you did. Um, and I think that goes beyond professional life, right? It's a motivating factor in the personal life. It makes you more disciplined. It causes you to have this just hunger for knowledge, not that that's the end goal, but to be able to apply that knowledge in our work setting more effectively, or to be able to apply that to our personal life more effectively and get better outcomes out of them. So
yeah, that's fascinating. Like I even see it like with some of the like family or older clients that I've worked with. It's like the ones who are like thriving the most mentally are the people who've been continually learning. Like they're avid readers and stuff. Like reading is an amazing discipline. Like if you stop doing that at any point, like your dentist said, like if you ever stop trying to learn and improve, it's whenever you become stagnant. You probably become discontent, and you probably, if professionally, you might get behind.
Well, I think professionally you become bored.
Yeah.
Right. It becomes monotonous. It's like, well, it's a shoulder issue. I'm going to treat it this way. And like this week, well, not this week, 2 weeks ago, had a kid come in with a weird shoulder injury, 14-year-old baseball player, been to the ortho, been to PT, been to the ortho again. All the scans are normal. No idea what it is. Well, I had a conversation with a doc and studied a research paper in July. And it's the first case I've seen of this type of shoulder injury. 2 treatments later, the kid's throwing, no pain. It's like, that's awesome. Like that's exciting to be able to apply that knowledge and get a better outcome for somebody. If I wouldn't have had that conversation, I probably would have gone about it the same way that the other colleagues had, PT, ortho, trying to work the same components. And so I think it has prevented me from getting bored, for lack of a better term, in practice.
That's
it prevents me from getting stagnant with how I view treating an issue. And it helps. And my dad's great about this. I practice with my dad, which but listeners don't. He's very good at being mindful with the patient. And I think he's mindful with the patient because he's thinking what book off the bookshelf in his head does he have to pull out to help that person? And that's a fascinating thing to watch from a doctor that's been there 30 some years in practice. Continue to do that. And then you look at, one of my buddies who has been out of school 5 years and he's burnt out. Well, what's the difference? And you alluded to that a second ago. So
that's fascinating. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, it's not just books, but also just like learning from others, like you said, like having a conversation with somebody, because everyone is your superior in some way. We can learn from everybody. And so if we have that humility and that teachability to be like always listening for something you can pick up from somebody, it's like I was having a conversation with another coach the other day, and he was talking about some struggles he was having with some nutrition clients that he had. Like he had some clients doing like a nutrition challenge, and he's just like, they just keep asking me the same thing again and again every day. And I'm like, what do I say? I'm like, well, have you ever considered like asking a question back? Like, what do you think the root cause of that? And he's like, no, I didn't. Yeah. So, and then he's like, I used that today and it was amazing. So like, and I've had several instances myself where like I've talked to you or something and you asked me a question. I'm like, I never thought about that. So everyone has a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
And so learning from other people can help you really become more well-rounded and better, be able to serve others. But it's just like that value of constantly learning constantly helps you be sharp mentally, but also just improving others and helping others in a lot of ways.
And for me, like this weekend, I told my wife, I want to take this online course. She goes, you just took a 12-hour course last week and you don't need to take another one. Like it becomes addicting, man. It's like, I want to know more. And
got to have a budget for all the out courses you want to take, right?
Yeah, I need to get a third job just to do that, right? But in a serious way, it's like, you have to really chew on some of that stuff. And I think that's where we get in trouble with sports and exercise and science and different things like that, is we become just focused on surface level understanding of that. And we have to continually dive into that stuff so that we can comprehend it at a level that's effective. And I don't want to reiterate, but I think the finished product or your never finished product statement to me was game changing. So I shout out to my dentist, right, for making me better going into school. And I've told him, I've gone back to him several times. I'm like, you changed my outlook of how I approach that and how I continue to approach that.
And
we don't learn. So
I think even on learning, like it's not just about like taking courses and learning from others and books and everything, but also learning yourself
mhm,
has a really high value, especially like in our profession, um, our separate professions. Like the better you can create awareness in someone learning their own body, like in the nutrition lifestyle coaching that I do, like a big thing that I do is just helping people increase their awareness. Like, how does that food affect you? How do you feel
mhm,
after that?
mhm.
What's your hunger and your satiety awareness? Like, are you aware when you feel full or when you feel hungry? Like, um, are you aware like how you feel day in and day out? Like, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Like, becoming more aware of your own body is just part of learning yourself and learning what works best for you. Because we're all as unique as our fingerprint. Like our bodies respond and function differently to our environment, to our different
Sure.
stressors, to the different things that we put in or put on our body. So like it's a big thing to be self-aware. Don't just do something because someone told you to. Like, learn about it, experiment with it, see if it works for you. If not, don't worry about it. If it's something that improves the way that you function, the way you feel, then awesome. You just add something to your toolbox to be able to help you continually take care of yourself.
And I would assume that when you approach that with that perspective with your clients, that they become more bought in, that they become more excited, and that all of a sudden they're not looking at what you're telling them as a checklist, but it's a lifestyle modification. And
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome piece, awesome component, probably is a better way to put it, of how you work with your clients. And I think we need more of it. So kudos to you for taking that.
it take
Shout out to Caleb
Hey,
for
it
that.
takes
But
time. I've even been learning myself a lot over
right,
the years, but I think it's super rewarding for me to be always learning myself, but also for clients that I work with. It's like the better you can become more self-aware, the more control you'll be able to have to choose to be what you want to be and keep growing the way you want to grow. That wraps up my interview with Dr. Keating. So thanks for tuning in this week. I hope that this episode was really beneficial for you, and I'll catch you on the next one.